The day of the meeting was hot, and the air smelled like roasted yam. Chika sat beside her mother, Mama Neka, under the mango tree in Ojidai village. The elders from Emeka's family arrived with kola nuts, palm wine, and smiles. They spoke softly and laughed kindly, but their eyes were sharp. Elder Okoro, Emeka's uncle, tapped his walking stick. "We have come for Chika's hand," he said. "We will pay the bride price." Everyone clapped. But money was small in both families. The list from the elders was long: wrappers, yams, goats, palm oil. Chika felt worry press her chest. After the greetings, Chika stood up. Her voice was calm. "I do not want money to be the reason we do not marry," she said. "I will bring something else, a true gift from my late father's shrine." The elders murmured. Some smiled, some frowned. Emeka's eyes softened. He trusted Chika. "Bring the gift," Elder Okoro said. "If our spirits accept it, we accept it." That night, the moon was thin like a silver smile. Chika walked to her father's small shrine behind their hut. The shrine was made of clay with white chalk dots. She knelt and cleaned the dust. In a tiny clay pot, wrapped in old blue cloth, she found the secret item her father had whispered about before he died, a cowrie shell with a faint glow inside, called the moon cowrie. "It keeps a home safe," he had said. "But it must be respected, and it must be returned if the spirits ask." Chika held the cowrie and felt a soft hum in her palm, like a sleeping bird. Mama Neko watched from the doorway, worried. "Child," she said, "your father told you to be careful." Chika nodded. "I will be careful," she said. She placed the cowrie in a calabash with white cloth and tied it closed. The night breeze smelled like rain, and somewhere a flute played a low note. Morning brought people, food, and talking. Chika came out with the calabash. She placed it before the elders. "This is from my father's shrine," she said. "It is my gift in place of money." Elder Okoro looked at the closed calabash. He did not touch it yet. Emeka's mother, Mama Is, raised her eyebrows. "We do not sell a bride with charms," she said. "We bless a bride with honor." Chika lifted the lid and showed the cowrie. The shell glowed soft like moon water. The elders drew in their breath. Some crossed themselves. Others nodded slowly. Elder Okoro took a pinch of white chalk and blew it gently over the shell. The glow did not fade. He nodded. "The spirit is not angry," he said. "We accept." Emeka smiled at Chika with bright eyes. Palm wine was poured. Kola was broken. Prayers were said. The cows lowed in the distance, and the drum from the square sounded like a happy heart. The wedding was simple and sweet. Chika wore a blue wrapper with small white stars. Emeka wore a clean white shirt and tied cloth. They walked around the cooking fire together 3 times, while the women sang a slow song. Gifts came: yams, oil, a small goat that made everyone laugh. The moon cowrie sat in a small woven basket in their new hut, near the doorway. That night, when the songs ended and the visitors left, Chika and Emeka sat together in the quiet. "We will work hard," Emeka said. "We will farm and save. We will make a home that is kind." Chika touched the cowrie. It felt cool and alive. "We will keep our promises," she said. They slept with tired smiles. But close to midnight, Chika woke. The bed beside her was empty. The door was open. Wind tapped the calabash. Emeka was gone. She ran outside. The moon hid behind a cloud, and the village was a hush. Chika followed soft footprints in the dust. They led past the mango tree, past the grinding stone, past the sleeping goats, and toward the old path to the stream. The night frog sang. The footprints were Emeka's, but something felt strange. The steps were slow and careful, like a person walking inside a dream. Chika called, "Emeka." The night swallowed her voice. At the stream, she found him standing on a rock, eyes open but far away, like he was listening to someone she could not hear. "Emeka," she whispered, touching his arm. He blinked and looked at her as if waking from a deep room. "Why am I here?" he asked softly. I just lay down to sleep. Chika took his hand and led him home. She did not speak of fear. She did not scold. But when they reached the hut, she saw the cowrie had rolled closer to the door. Its glow was brighter. The wind sounded like a low drum. The next day, Emeka worked on the farm, but he was quiet. He moved as if he did not want to make a sound that would wake a secret. I feel fine, he kept saying, but his eyes looked tired. At noon, Mama Is came with soup and concern. Marriage is new work, she said. Eat well, sleep well. Chika smiled and thanked her. She did not mention the night walk. That evening, Chika placed the cowrie back in the woven basket and tied the basket with blue cloth. She spoke a small prayer her father had taught her. Spirit that protects, spirit that listens, keep our home safe and keep our feet still. They slept early. At midnight, the basket shook. The blue cloth untied itself like a snake undoing a knot. Emeka stood up again. He moved to the door like water pouring from a pot. Chika grabbed his hand and felt a pull, gentle but strong, leading him outside. Chika followed him to the edge of the forest. The trees watched like tall elders. Emeka stopped beside a termite mound. He knelt and pressed the earth. What do you hear? Chika asked, voice shaking. Emeka spoke slowly, as if someone was feeding him words. Return what was taken, he said. A cowrie was borrowed and not returned. Chika's heart fell. She remembered her father's warning. It must be returned if the spirits ask. She pulled Emeka close. His skin was cool. His breath was deep. She led him home again and placed the cowrie under an upside-down clay bowl. The bowl trembled. Chika sat in front of it with a lantern, eyes open till dawn. The rooster called the sun, and she was still awake. Emeka did not remember the walk. He held her hand. We will fix this, he said softly, though he did not know how. They went to Elder Okoro with kola and truth. Chika told everything, the night walks, the stream, the termite mound, the words about return. Elder Okoro listened without blinking. He placed chalk marks on the floor. Your father was a good man, he said, but even good men can forget the last step of a promise. The cowrie was given for protection, not for pride. It must be placed where it belongs before it begins to pull someone away fully. Chika swallowed. Pull away, she asked. Elder Okoro nodded. First, the night walks. Next, the voice grows quiet. Then the body grows thin. At last, only the shadow remains at night. Emeka squeezed Chika's fingers. Tell us what to do, he said. Where is its place? Elder Okoro looked toward the hills. At the crossroads shrine, under the Iroko, just before the river bend. News travels fast in a small village. By evening, people whispered that Emeka walked at night and that Chika's bride price was a spirit shell. Some were kind. Some were not. Dan the trader said, this is what happens when you pay with mystery. Ada the cloth seller shook her head. This is what happens when people laugh at promises. Chika stood tall, but inside she felt like a string pulled too tight. She and Emeka gathered things, a calabash, clean water, palm oil, white cloth, kola nut, and a small gourd of honey. We go tonight, Chika said. We go together. Mama Neka hugged them both and placed a small string of white beads on Chika's wrist. For courage, she said. The sun fell. The sky turned purple. The crickets began their song. The cowrie's glow paused from under the bowl like a heart behind a door. They left when the village slept. The path to the crossroads shrine was narrow and old. Fireflies led like tiny lanterns. Emeka walked steady at first, holding the calabash. Chika carried the white cloth and honey. Halfway there, Emeka slowed. He tilted his head, as if listening to a song only he could hear. His steps turned to the right, of the path. Chika stood in his way. Look at me, she said softly. He looked at her and blinked. I hear my name, he whispered. It is soft, like smoke. Chika placed the white beads against his palm. "Hold the beads," she said. "Hold my voice." Emeka closed his hand on the beads and took a deep breath. The fireflies gathered around his face like a crown. He blinked again and returned to the path. They reached the shrine, a circle of stones under a tall iroko whose roots were like sleeping snakes. The crossroads shrine was quiet and deep. Chika placed the white cloth on the ground. Emeka set the calabash on it. The cowrie glowed from inside like a small moon in a god sky. Chika poured a little water around the stones. Emeka rubbed a drop of palm oil on the cowrie. They broke the kola nut into 4 and placed the pieces at the corners of the cloth. Chika then opened the honey and placed a finger of it on the stone. "For sweetness in our words," she said. They knelt. Chika spoke in a simple voice. "Spirit of crossroads, we borrowed and did not return. We are sorry. We bring back the cowrie to its path. Let our home be peaceful. Let our feet be steady." The air did not move. The leaves did not shake. Then, gently, the earth gave a small sigh, like a tired mother who has found her missing child. They waited. A night bird called twice and went quiet. Emeka held Chika's hand. The cowrie's glow slowed, then steadied, then dimmed, but it did not go dark. A soft breeze moved the white cloth. The iroko leaves rustled as if 2 elders were speaking low. Chika felt the hum inside her bones. A voice, not outside but inside, said, "Keep your promise. Speak truth to each other. Do not hide your needs. The shell comes and goes with care." Emeka had a similar word in his heart: do not walk away from your home in silence. If you need help, call. They looked at each other and nodded. They covered the cowrie with the cloth and waited until the moon touched the top of the iroko. Then they lifted the cloth. The cowrie still glowed, but softly now, like a lamp turned low. They stood to leave. Emeka felt light, as if a stone had been lifted from his chest. Chika's legs shook, but with relief. On the way home, the path looked new. The frogs sounded like laughing friends. They reached their hut before dawn. The cowrie was set near the door again, this time on a small mat of palm leaves. They slept, and no footsteps pulled Emeka away. In the morning, the sun came like a gold drum. Mama Neko danced a small dance in the doorway. "Your eyes look awake," she said to Emeka. He smiled and hugged her. Chika cooked yam and made palm oil sauce. They ate and told Mama Neko what happened at the crossroads. She rubbed their heads gently. "A home is not only walls," she said. "It is promises kept." For 3 nights, Emeka slept soundly. They walked, they laughed, and they shared small worries without fear. But on the 4th night, Emeka woke again, not to walk, but to sit. He stared at the cowrie, eyes wet. "My father owes a goat to Elder Okoro," he said softly. "We never said it. I feel shame." Chika touched his shoulder. "We will speak in the morning," she said. They went to Elder Okoro after sunrise, carrying a small rooster and palm oil. Emeka bowed. "My father promised a goat and never paid. We do not have a goat, but we bring this, and we promise to bring a goat after harvest." Elder Okoro looked at their honest faces. He smiled. "A promise without breath is a lie," he said. "You have given it breath today. Keep it, and the spirits will keep you." Emeka felt the tightness in his chest melt like wax near a fire. The whispers in the village changed. People began to say, "Chika and Emeka speak truth." They returned what was taken. Their home smells of peace. Even then the trader softened. He brought them a sack of seed and said, "I have spoken too hard before. Take this. Plant well." Ada the cloth seller gave Chika a small blue scarf. "For your morning walks," she said. Chika tied the scarf around her hair and thanked her. At night, she and Emeka made a habit. Before sleep, they placed a small drop of water near the cowrie and said 3 words, "We return thanks." Then they told each other one thing they feared and one thing they hoped. They slept like people with a warm blanket that no wind could steal. Harvest came with songs and dust. The yams were good, the cassava strong, the peppers plenty. Emeka saved slowly and bought a young goat. He led it to Elder Okoro with respect. "Here is the goat my father owed," he said. Elder Okoro blessed him and gave him a small calabash of ground spices. "For your home," he said. Chika pounded yam with Mama Neka and cooked a big pot of soup. They invited neighbors to eat. Laughter filled the compound. But as the sun fell, a strange wind moved through the leaves. The cowrie on the mat flickered brighter than usual. Chika felt that old pull in her belly. She looked at Emeka. He felt it too. The room grew quiet. The cowrie paused once, twice, and then a third time, like a drum calling people to a meeting. Chika and Emeka sat in front of the cowrie. They did not run. They did not hide. Chika spoke softly. "Do you ask to go back to the shrine tonight?" The cowrie's glow steadied and then softened. Emeka nodded slowly. "Maybe it only wanted to see if we would listen," he said. Chika smiled. "Then we listen." They took the cowrie, the white cloth, and a little honey back to the crossroads under the iroko. They placed it down and said, "Thank you." The night air felt sweet, like ripe pawpaw. They waited in silence and then returned home. Emeka slept and did not rise. Chika dreamed, but the dream was soft, a path, a hand, a calm stream. In the morning, they were both rested like two trees after rain. Months passed, and peace stayed, not perfect, but faithful. When small troubles came, a broken hoe, a sick goat, a sharp word between friends, they walked through them with slow talk and clear hearts. The cowrie glowed gently on quiet nights and dimmed on busy ones. Sometimes it seemed only like a shell. Sometimes it felt like a friend. Children came to sit by Chika's doorway to hear stories. She told them about promises and crossroads, about returning before taking too much, about speaking when something feels heavy. Emeka taught the boys to fix nets and mend fences. He said, "A fence falls where no one checks." People laughed and repeated it. One afternoon, a man from the city came with bright shoes and a sharp voice. He saw the cowrie and said, "I buy this. I will pay good money." Chika shook her head. "It is not for sale," she said. The man laughed. "Everything is for sale." Emeka stood beside her. "Not this," he said. "It is tied to our word." The man rolled his eyes and walked away, but as he left the compound, he stumbled and dropped his bag. The bag burst open, and his papers flew like white birds. Chika and Emeka helped him gather them. The man was red with shame. He cleared his throat. "Thank you," he muttered. He walked on, slower, with softer steps. The children told the story and giggled. The cowrie tripped him, they said. Chika only smiled and swept the compound clean. One evening, Mama Is fell sick with a strong fever. Emeka ran for the healer. Chika soaked cloth in cool water and sang a low song. She placed the cowrie near the doorway and asked for calm. The night was long. The healer came with herbs and steam. Emeka did not sit, he moved and fetched and cared. At dawn, Mama Isa's fever broke like a rope cut clean. She slept deep and woke hungry. "I saw a river," she whispered, "and a bridge made of words. I walked back on the bridge." Chika cried and laughed together. Emeka held both women. The cowrie's glow was very soft, like a candle at the end of a prayer. They all rested, and the room felt like a nest. On market day, Chika sold peppers and smiled easily. People asked her for advice. "My son hides his troubles," one woman said. "How do I help?" Chika answered, "Make a small place in the home where truth sits. Visit it each night." Emeka traded yams and came home early. He hung a small gourd at the door. "For our promises," he said. Inside the gourd, they kept tiny notes. "We return the hoe to Dan, we visit Mama Is early, we pay the grinder tomorrow." The gourd sang softly when the wind moved, and the notes rustled like leaves. Chika touched the gourd whenever worry knocked her heart. It helped. She slept with her hands open and her jaw unclenched. One night, a storm came with loud drums of thunder. The wind pushed the door, the rain slapped the roof. The cowrie glowed bright, then dim, then bright again. Chika felt fear rise, and then she remembered to breathe slowly. Emeka held the door while she placed a folded cloth under the crack to keep out water. They walked together like two hands of one person. The storm shouted for a while and then grew tired. In the morning, the sky was clean, the air was new, and the ground smelled like fresh promises. A rainbow hung above the Iroquois, and even then the trader clapped his hands at the sight. After the storm, Elder Okoro called a small gathering under the mango tree. He spoke to the young couples. A bride price is not only things, he said. It is duties shared, promises kept, and truth spoken. If you pay with this, your home will not fall. He asked Chika and Emeka to talk. Chika told them about the night walks and the crossroads. Emeka told them about the goat ode and the God of promises. The young couples listened with wide eyes. Some took notes on palm leaves. Others just nodded and held hands. The mango tree dropped a ripe fruit at the end, and everyone laughed. Years moved like calm water. A baby girl came, round and curious. They named her Nwondo, child of the path. At night, when Nwondo cried, Chika hummed a soft tune from the crossroads. Emeka walked the floor with her and told tiny jokes. The cowrie sat where it always sat. Sometimes Nwondo crawled to eat and patted the mat. Chika would pick her up and say, "We greet the keeper and the promise." The child giggled and tried to say cowrie, but it came out cowrie, which made everyone smile. One evening, Nwondo toddled toward the doorway while Chika cooked. The pot bubbled. Emeka swept the floor. The cowrie flickered, and Chika looked up in time to see Nwondo reach for a sharp stone. "Oh!" Chika said gently, rushing over. She lifted the child and replaced the stone with a smooth wooden spoon. The cowrie dimmed again. Emeka laughed softly. "Even shells babysit," he said. They ate together and told the story to Mama Neka, who laughed until her eyes shone. On the anniversary of their wedding, Chika and Emeka returned to the crossroads shrine. They carried honey, water, and flowers. Nwondo came, wobbling but brave. They placed the white cloth and set the cowrie upon it for a moment, just to greet the place where truth had stood with them. "We return thanks," they said together. The wind moved like a happy dancer. Nwondo clapped. The Iroquois hummed low and kind. They walked home slow, talking about small things, yam mounds, new sandals, the song the children were learning. When they reached their compound, Chika placed the cowrie back on its mat, as always. Emeka looked around the room that had held fear, then courage, then peace. He took Chika's hand. "When we paid your bride price," he said, "we started with a shell. But the real price was our promises." Chika smiled. "And we keep paying every day," she said. They both laughed, not loud, but full. That night, they sat by the doorway and watched the village breathe. The moon rose soft. The goats settled. The drum in the far square said good night. The cowrie glowed like a small star on the floor. Emeka whispered, "I am here." Chika answered, "I hear you." They closed their eyes and let sleep come like a river that knows the way home. In their dreams, there were no long, dark paths pulling Emeka away. There were only bright crossroads where two people met, placed truth between them, and returned to their house together. In Ojidai, people said, "Their home is a quiet drum." And it was true. It beat with promises kept, day after day.